The Beatles made a huge impact on society with both their music and their unique style. The uniqueness was instantly popular among the younger generations of the 60s. A reason for this popularity might have been the feeling of rebelliousness because of their parents' dislike for the new styles. People loved the Beatles, some were even in love with them. When the band broke up, the fans were heartbroken. Okay. Many aspects changed when the Beatles had broken up. They suffered from a huge blow when Epstein, their band manager, died of an accidental overdose on sleeping pills on August 27, 1967. After their death, the Beatles retreated under McCartney's leadership in the fall and filmed Magical Mystery Tour. While the film was panned by critics, the soundtrack album contained Lennon's I Am a Walrus, which was one of their most cryptic work yet. 2 months later, early in 1968, they went to India, where their efforts in the Apple Corps Ltd. Was plagued by mismanagement. In July, the group faced its last hysterical crowds at the premiere of their film Yellow Submarine. In November, their double album, The Beatles, frequently called the White Album, showed their divergent directions. John Lennon was a very talented person. He was a pop star, composer, songwriter, and a recording artist. John Lennon was born in Liverpool, New England. This was during World War II. John's mother, Julia, bought him his first guitar, and she also taught him how to play the banjo and piano. His mother died in a fatal car accident in 1958, which was one of Lennon's biggest tragedies in his life. John met Paul McCartney at a church function in July 6, 1957, where they joined a band together, becoming two of the most successful songwriters in history. McCartney introduced him to George Harrison the following year, and Stuart Sutcliffe joined the band, finally choosing drummer Pete Best. In the later years, they were discovered by Brian Epstein with a new drummer, Ringo Starr. The Beatles were discovered in a cavern club where they were performing on a regular basis. As their new manager, Epstein, secured a record contract with George Martin as a producer. The group released their first single, Love Me Do, in October 1962. It peaked on the British charts as number 17. Lennon wrote the group's following single, Please Please Me, inspired primarily by Roy Orbison, but was also fed by John's infatuation of the pun in Bing Crosby's famous, Please Lend Your Little Ears to Me, Please. The song topped the charts in Britain. The Beatles went on to become one of the most popular bands in Britain and released mega hits like She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Everybody's talking about now. I want peace now. We can get peace now if we want it now. And the left wing talk about giving the power to the people. You know, anybody knows that the people have the power. All we have to do is awaken the power in the people. The people are unaware. It's like they're not educated to realize that they have power.
You're good. Lennon had married Cynthia Powell in August 1962, and they had a son together who they called Julian, named after John's mother. Cynthia had to keep a very low profile during Beatlemania. This divorce in 1968 had him remarry Japanese avant-garde artist Yoko Ono, whom he had met in India Gallery in November 1966. John and Yuko's artist partnerships became a cause for further tension within the group. Together they invested and formed a peace protest by staying in their bed while being filmed and interviewed, and together recorded the name of their band, the Plastic Ono Band. Give Peace a Normal Chance became a national anthem for pacifists. John Lennon left the Beatles in September 1969, just after the group completed recording Abbey Road. The news of the breakup was kept secret until McCartney announced it in his departure in April 1970, a month before the band released Let It Be, recorded just before Abbey Road. Lennon and Ono moved to the U.S. in September 1971, but were constantly threatened by the deportation of the Nixon administration. Lennon was told he was being kicked out of the country because of his 1968 marijuana conviction in Britain, but Lennon believed the true reason was his activism against the unpopular Vietnam War. Documents later proved him correct. 2 years after Nixon resigned, Lennon was granted permanent U.S. residency in 1976. In 1972, Lennon performed at Madison Garden Square to benefit mentally handicapped children and to continue to promote peace while battling to stay in the U.S. That immigration battle took a toll on Lennon's marriage. In the fall of 1973, they separated. John went to Los Angeles, where he partied and took a mistress, Maypong. He still managed to release hit albums such as Mind Games, Walls and Bridges, and Rock and Roll, and collaborated with David Bowie and Elton John. In the end, Lennon realized he really loved Yoko and could not leave without her. He reconciled and gave birth to their only child, Sean, on Lennon's 35th birthday. John decided to leave the music business and raise his son and become a house husband. John Lennon was assassinated in 1980 when, unfortunately, just a few weeks after his hit album, Just Like Starting Over. Lennon was shot by a deranged fan in front of his apartment complex in New York. Lennon died at the age of 40 at the Roosevelt Hospital on December 8, 1980, after receiving multiple gunshots in the back. His death affected millions of people, record sales soared, and he continues to be admired by a generation of fans.